Okay, so we're going to be doing a little quick guide on trying to set up Live2D assets in Vtube Studio. Now, the first thing we're going to do is we are going to get the download file that you will get once you purchase the asset on my Etsy or my Ko-Fi shop. It will look something like this. You should be getting a zip file that contains both the PDF instruction and also a zip file with all of the asset files that are in there, all the Live2D files. So what we're going to do is we're going to extract that into its own folder. That way this folder will be usable. And then you should have all of this in here. Okay. Now from here, we're going to copy that and then we're going to put it into our Live2D folder. I already have mine shortcutted here. And then we're going to paste it into the Live2D folder. And I've already gone ahead and done that. It's already right there. Now, if you don't know where this folder is, a really easy way to find it is actually going into Vtube Studio, hitting this button right up here, and then hit the import your own model, and then it will guide you right to that folder. All right, and then this will open up, and then you can put it right in there. Now, something to remember that some people say that if you just wait, the file will appear in Vtube Studio if you just wait. I always just restart Vtube Studio so that when it reopens, the file that I just copied over, in this case the chunklet, will be there. So if you don't see it, just try restarting Vtube Studio. Okay, so we're going to open that one that we just put in there. It's going to ask us if we want to set it up automatically or copy setup from another model. I'm not going to do any of that. Specifically for this one, other assets that require like head turns, like a mask, you may need to do some setup with the rigging. So you want to do like, just like you did with your own model, angle turns and everything like that, you would want to do with a asset that has any sort of like head or movement rigging to it. Right. So for this one specifically, if you notice, it's going to be blank. Don't freak out. It doesn't mean that there's no asset or anything like that. It means that the asset has not appeared yet because it starts off screen or with a 0 opacity. So what we're going to do here is we're going to click the settings. We're going to go over to the hotkeys and expression, and we're going to see usually two things here. Sometimes they're named a little bit differently. Sometimes you'll see something like on. In this case, it says preview, right? And I have set it to right shift and L. You can set it to whatever you want, but for me, this is my hotkey, right? And then it will appear, and there is the chunklet, right? This might be set to something else by default, but you can always set it to whatever fits your fancy, whatever tickles your fancy. Now, this specific hotkey is only so that you can set it up, so that you can make it so that you can see it and you can preview it and then you can place it on the model where it needs to be. This is actually not what you would want to do for triggering it during your streams. Now, what you want to do for triggering it during your streams is actually this expression. In this case, it's called chunkless slap. Sometimes it's just called animation, but in this case, it's called the chunkless slap. Now, this is the one that we want, right? So I'm going to actually press that same hotkey as before, right shift L, which was the other one, to the preview button, and then I'm going to hit right shift N. And if you notice, it actually does the full animation, and that's what we're actually looking for. And this is the one that you would want to remember so that you can hook it up with a bot so that your chat can trigger it whenever they submit bits or channel points. And so that's the one you want. And you can also trigger it yourself by pressing that hotkey. Okay. Now I'm going to go back to hitting this one again so we can preview it. Now, if you want to change the model, some of the colors around, like this one is pretty customizable. You might notice that this is a different color than the one you have. You can actually go to the customize model section and customize here. Right, and you can apply, multiply, and screen colors for certain art meshes. So I can actually click on that one. It's going to click anything that's in the vicinity of where I clicked. In this case, it's the chunklet, the main part right there, or the soul, which I know it won't feel very visible because it's this red part right here. Okay. Now, if I wanted to, I can move the colors around so that it's the color that I want. So if I wanted to turn this green or yellow, I can. Right? And that's the multiply color. And then this is the screen color, which is kind of like the lighter end. So one will kind of make it a little, it will make it colored but darker, and this will make it colored but lighter. Right? So you can kind of mess around with that a little bit. For now, let's go with this kind of light blue. Okay? Bada boom. Good. And if you want to keep it the same color all the way around, the nice thing about VTube Studio is it does let you paste the last color. So I can use the exact same color I used for the last one. Boom. Apply it there. Okay. And then boom. And if you notice, the colors are pretty similar. Right? Now, and also if you mess that up and it's the wrong color, you can always just copy over the hex code up here as well. Okay. Now, I actually really don't like that color, so I'm going to change it back real quick. All right, there we go. I like that. Okay, so we have the colors that I like. This is closer to my model's colors. Oh, actually, before we do that, I do want to show you an example of one that does have rigging involved. So we're going to actually pull up a different one. We're going to have the head grab hand squeeze. This one does have a little bit of rigging involved because the hand moves with the head. Now, we're going to go over here. Over here in this top section. If you notice, once again, it has an animation and an on button, right? The on button is what toggles it on so you can see it, right? And if you notice, I'm moving my head and you can see it's already tracking me. Now, there is an animation section, so it's right Control and H. So if I were to press F3 to get rid of it and press Control H, it'll do the full animation. This is going to hold for about 10 seconds. And then once it releases, it will fly back up and away. Okay, so I'm just going to wait for that animation to finish. But there we go. Now I'm going to hit the on toggle again, which was F3 in this case. It was this one, F3. And it'll just kind of be hanging there without any animations. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go into the model settings. Right, I've already set mine up, but you would want to set up the face angle with the X angle. Right, so that is moving the head like this, left, right, right? You want to adjust your ins and outs a little bit so it matches yours. So if you notice that your head turn, like you turn all the way to the left, maybe you got a really stiff neck, maybe you turn your head all the way to the left and it's only getting to 11, right? You might want to change this to about -11. And if same thing on the other way, if you're going all the way to like 50 on this other side, you might want to change that to 50, right? And this will make it so that this 50 will output the maximum motion of 30, and then this -11 would output the maximum of -30, right? So you're kind of making it so that your input and output get translated over or scaled over to what the actual output that is rigged over on the model. So you're gonna have to play around with that a little bit, right? And you're gonna do that for angle X, angle Y, and angle Z. And that's usually the most of the head movements that are going to be in anything that have head movements in there. So those are going to be the three that you're trying to get. Some of them might have physics. This one specifically does not have any physics to it, so there's not going to be that much bounce or anything like that with this one, just because it's a hand. If it was something like hair, it might have more physics, so you might want to play around with some of the physics settings here, just like you would with your own VTuber model, right? And so we're actually going to switch back to the Chonkolo one, because that's the one I want to kind of show off a bit. So back up in here, and let's go back to the Chonkolo. All right, just going to cancel that. I'm going to press, I believe it was Control L? No, Control H? Nope. What was the hotkey? There it is. Try to remember your hotkeys, folks. All right, so now that we have the Chonkolo out, we have to make this into an asset, right, or an item, as VTube Studio calls it. So load current model as Live2D item. This is the button we're going to press. So I got here by pressing the green single star, hitting that. It's going to ask to do this so that it can basically put it into the items folder. And if you already have one under the same name, it will be overwritten. And you're just going to press OK. Now you can adjust some of the physics and some of the range on this. For the most part, you might not, well, most likely not have to, but some people have different models and you might have to like change up some of the numbers here. I'm just going to hit cancel because I don't need to do that. All right. So this is happening because I have the item and I also have the model loaded up. So there isn't actually two slippers. So let me show you. So I'm actually going to load up my actual model now. So let's go in here. There we go. So I had one as an item and I had one as the model. So now, since I swapped out the model, I should only have the item and the model. So let's see. Oh, unless I have one already preset. So sorry, I had two items there. Right, so it should be like this. Boom, boom. Okay. Now, unfortunately, it's also the same hotkey as my sword. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to hit the hotkey to get the chocolate in place. So I would hit, in my case, it was right shift L, right? And I'm going to place it where I want it to slap me. In this case, it's going to be my head. I'm going to hit right shift L again to make that go away. And then I'm going to hit the hotkey in order to trigger the animation to check it out. I believe it was right shift N. There we go. Good. All right. And then all you have to do is go into your bot. In my case, I use Vtube. All right. And all we're going to do is we're going to Vtube. We're going to set up the points. We're going to set up a new one right here. We're going to call it Chancla. Vtube does have a Vtube Studio integration, which is really nice. So I'm going to put the Vtube Studio integration in there. If I wanted to change any input from the user, any cooldown, any limitations, like how many per stream, how many per user, you can do that. I do recommend putting a cooldown though. All right, now from here, we're going to change it to hotkey. And then we're going to see where that one is. It should be Chancla Slap. Right, and then we can test it out by hitting that button, that little play button, and it'll play the hotkey just so we can make sure it's the right one. All right, and then we make it a cost. This is going to be a points redeem, right? But you can set it to bits, a command, anything else that you want, a timer, right? So whatever kind of fits your fancy. And once you're done, you just hit the save button. I already made one, so I'm actually not going to save it. So once you hit that save button, it should appear. Where's the one I already had? Oh yeah, it's right up here. Chancla Slap, right? Slap me like your mama would. This is the one I made already, right? And then once you do that, you can actually go into your chat. Chancla Slap, redeem, boom, 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 boom. See? And there you go. That's all there is to it. Okay, so if you're using Mix It Up to set up a channel point redeem using the asset, it's going to be a little different in terms of how to get it set up compared to something like Vtube, which is a little bit more straightforward. So from here, we're going to add a new channel point reward. We're just going to call this one Chancla. And we're going to call it Chancla 1 because I already have a Chancla. Okay. Now from here, what we're going to do is we're going to do this. And we're going to create some actions here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a keyboard command. And you don't want to actually use the Vtube Studio one for this one because it actually gets a little bit wonky as a result. Because it doesn't have an ability to trigger item specific hotkeys. You can only do it for specific models. So you actually want to go in here and use the I already selected input, keyboard, and mouse. So we're gonna put that in there. All right, so if you have just one key, this is really straightforward. You would just put the key in there. Let's say it's 4, and super easy. You click, that means you press and then let go, right? Real simple. You just save it, you're done. Now, if you're like me that likes to use combination keys where I'm using 2 keys, all right, so we're going to set it up as keyboard as my first button that I need to press, which is right shift, and I'm going to put it as press. Now, press means it holds it down, I'm going to add another keyboard key in here. This is the second key I have it linked to, which is N right there. And I'm just going to have that one as click, because that way it's just clicking it once and then letting go. And I do have to add one more button here because I do need it to release the right shift key. So I'm going to go back in here, and then wherever right shift is, right shift, release. And that should be the whole command line. It's a little bit more, a couple more steps to do this one, but that's just the nature of this bot, unfortunately. So in order to test it, we're going to go in, in order to test it, we're going to hit the little play button. Right, these are, you can change the reward costs, all this stuff as well, but we're just going to test the command. Now, quick thing, you do have to click out of here for the command to go through. There we go. Now we're going to save that, and we're going to make sure it works on our actual chat. So it has been saved, so it should be in here as like chocolate test, or chocolate with a 1 or exclamation point. There it is. And then I'm going to click that, redeem. Boom. There you go. All right. So it should be all set. And it should have released the right shift, so I shouldn't be, there we go, typing in all caps or anything like that. Perfect. So we're all set there. All right. So if you have mixed it up, it takes a couple of extra steps, but you can get it done. Just make sure not to use the Vtube Studio function, as it doesn't quite work for certain. So it's a little bit better to use the key input function instead. Hope this guide helped. If you guys have any more questions or anything like that, please let me know. This video is going to be public on my YouTube channel, so if you have any other questions or guides you want on how to set these up, let me know so that I can make them for you. Also, make sure to go to my Etsy shop. Link will be in the description and on the screen. It really helps to support me, and I get to make real funny, cool little VTuber assets for you guys as well. And if you guys have any suggestions on what kind of assets you guys would like to see, let me know, and I'll make them for you. All right, back to the void I go. Bye.